Okay, hello everyone. As I promised in this video, I show you how to pass the attributes from the backend to the GSP pages. And let's try to execute a simple example first. Let's say we want to add to the main page some default data from the backend. We need to pass the attribute. So first of all, we need to use a method from the HTTP servlet request. The method is set attributes request set attribute, and in the first param it's the attribute name. Let's give it a name welcome message, and the next param, the second one, is the attribute value. You can put any attribute value you want or you need. Let's add hi user, and if you want to display this attribute on the page, you need to navigate to the GSP page, and in the place you want to display it, let's display it after this welcome message in the new paragraph. P is the tag for paragraph for HTML. Let's remove these comments, and you can use $sign and curly brackets and the name of your attribute. Here's the name of attribute, welcome message. Let's check how it works. Hi user. As you can see, we put attribute from the Java to the GSP page. Okay, let's try something interesting. Let's try to show multiple objects on this page. For this purpose, let's use JSTL. And JSTL is just separate library to avoid mixing Java code and in GSP, because as you know, GSP allows you to put Java code on this GSP, but JSTL allows you avoid using Java code in the HTML pages, because it's not really good when you mix in both HTML and Java on the same GSP page. So as JSTL is a separate library, we need to connect it to our project. Let's navigate to Google and print JSTL Maven, and let's download JSTL library. Get back to our POM XML. In the scope of dependencies, let's add our dependency. And that's it. Now JSTL library is connected to our project. And let's try to add some objects to our application to print something. Let's create new package. Let's call it model. And let's call it users model. Let's create Java class. Here's just simple Java class, and let's try to add some fields to this users model just to print it out. Let's add name, name, email, and age. And let's just create getters and setters. Source insert code, getter and setter for this user model, and let's create all args constructor and no args constructor. Source insert code constructor and no args constructor. Yeah, public user model, just in case. Okay, and in the home servlet, let's just add some information to show. Let's create some users list and put it to the list. Let's call first users, for example, Eric, email eric@gmail.com, and age 20. Let's add 4 users. Something like that. And let's try to add attribute with all those users request, and we do it the same way as we did with the previous attribute. For the attributes, it doesn't matter if you put just string or list, you can put a map, or you put any complex object you want. Let me just add attribute name as users, and my value is my array list with all the users. And on the main page, I need to connect. Firstly, I need to connect a JSTL tag. JSTL tag is specific tag for helping me display the list of users on my GSP. Let me connect JSTL tag by using tag, open tag, and I need to create a prefix C tag lib with prefix C from the JSTL core. URI is JSTL core HTTP Java Sun GSP Java Sun.com GSP JSTL core. I guess that's correct URL. Let's get back and let's try to check how can we just display all the users. So let's assume we wanna display all the users here, we need to use C for each. It's the special syntax for JSTL. C for each you need to specify the item and the variable. Items you wanna show, you wanna display is users. It's the name of the attribute. And variable, let's say user. Only you need to put these items users in the special tag users, in the special syntax using this $sign and curly braces. And let's just try in the display our users in new paragraph. User, and we need to we can use the names of our fields, because as we put our list to the attribute, and our this attribute will be the same as we put it in the controller, so it will have all the users model fields and values. If you need, for example, display names, you need user name. If you need age, you need user age, and email. Let's try to run application and see how it works. Oops, it's an error because most probably I entered incorrect URL. Let me copy paste this URL from the previous project. You never enter them correct until you copy paste them. Let's rerun our application. Let's check, maybe it's some sort of cache or other stuff. Let me make clean install, Maven clean install. Maybe it's some sort of cache. How can we execute this Maven? Right now I clean install. I made clean install. Maybe we have some sort of cache. Yeah, as you can see now, why it didn't work previously, because it didn't notice that I added dependency for my application, and I executed Maven clean install. It's a command from the Maven to recompile and rebuild your project. And here you see our data. Here you see our data from the backend. We can add some HTML table to see a pretty view of our data, something like this. Let's copy paste this table from this tutorial. And here's the main page. We don't need all this data. Here's a simple table tag. If you don't know what does this mean, you need to check some tutorials for HTML. So here I want to have my name, age, and email. And in the ForEach, I put this. And instead of printing hard-coded data, I just print my data from the backend. And I also need some styles. So my table will have pretty view in the head. Let's try to save and run once again. And here you see my pretty formatted table with my data from the backend. You can, for example, grab this data from the database, and you can just display data from the database on the front end. And let me show you how can we grab the data not only from the backend, but how can we grab some data from the user input and then manipulate this data somehow on backend and show some results on frontend. Let's ask our user to enter his name here. Let me navigate back to my NetBeans, close everything except index GSP, and let's add one new tag is form. Form is an HTML tag for entering data and processing it. So we need to add input. It's the tag for the field. Type of this input is text, and placeholder is please enter your name. And name of this field is user name. And another input is a button. With type submit. Value is navigate to the main page, and the action of this form is main page, so we don't need this tag anymore. And we need to put a method is get. It's nothing but a pure HTML. In the scope of this video, we're not going to discover HTML. So if you are not familiar with all that stuff about get, post methods, about HTML, about how does this work with form and submit, it's better for you to find some good HTML tutorial. You can use it's not the advertising, you can use this W3 school site. It's really a helpful tutorial site for learning HTML. And let's get back to our example. And here we see main page, and user put username in the form. So how can we grab this username on the backend? We need to navigate to the home servlet, and we need to use a request get attribute. And we need to specify the name of the attribute we want to grab. It's the name of our field. username. Oh, it's not sorry, it's not an attribute. Get param, name of the parameter, and we can use username equals username, and we can put this hi user plus username. Let's restart the application and see how it works. User enters some name, my name. He clicks to submit the form, and here he sees his entered data in the field on this page. That's how we received the data from the user and displayed it on the front end on our GSP page. And that's actually everything what I wanted to show you about JSTL. It's for JSTL we just seen how to use ForEach, but JSTL is a powerful library. It also allows you to write your own tag to manipulate with data from the backend, and you can navigate to this JSTL library documentation and check how it works. In the next video I will show you how can we submit not only from the GET request but from the POST request, how can we submit bigger forms, and maybe I can show you how to prepare register and login pages for your web application. And that's it for now. Please subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned. Bye.